Hello. Hi. You look so cute. I'm loving the cleavage. Hello.
Thank you. You look so gay.
I do? Oh my God. That's what I was going for.
Oh my God.
No, I'm
so
kidding.
cute.
You know what this
Looks
reminds
so
me of?
rainbowish. You look like the Rainbow
Thank you.
Connection.
No, you know, want to know I fell in love with it? It reminded me of Robin Williams' suspenders from Mork and Mindy.
Oh yeah, totally.
Right? And so I feel like it's like nanu.
Nanu. Comedic and fun and light.
You.
Yeah,
Yay,
cute.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, it's nice to
Nice
see
to see
you.
you.
How's your week been?
My week has been good, you know, lots of different things going up and down, and I'm really trying to balance how to be there for my friends and how to sort of step away and not always give my input, and you know, so it's I'm always practicing, but it's been good. I've been very good clean eating. I've been exercising. I've been consistent.
You're very good at that with me, by the way. Like, you're very kind and you always offer lovely help. And thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
That's so nice.
yeah. And you give me my space to like figure things out. You're a good friend,
Yeah.
Dina.
Thank you for saying that.
Of
you
course.
know, before I used to not be able to accept compliments like that, but now I'm like, thank you.
Yeah,
I like that. Thank you
course.
so much.
Sure.
And the same to you. It's lovely.
Thank you.
It's a very surprising friendship we have.
It really is.
It really is. In my brain, I'm a 14-year-old horny teenage boy with ADHD, and you're the adult in this relationship.
Yeah, right. In certain situations, maybe.
I know.
Welcome back to Life in the New Normal podcast, y'all. I am Ashley Heydrich, and this is our life coach, Dina Paduano.
Hi.
So nice to see y'all again. Thank you for listening from all over. We appreciate you guys so much. We really love being here. We love discussing these topics. If you guys have any ideas of topics, please feel free to email us or send them in the comments. LITNN.
Yes, or engage with any post. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. The email is litnnguest@gmail.com. And we'd love to hear any topics that you guys are feeling challenged with that maybe Coach Dina can shed some light on, and I can just, I don't know, be her sidekick and, you know, be the devil's advocate, as I like to do. But anyway, it is fun. We love it. We enjoy this very much. So thank y'all for being here and making us feel supported.
You. Yay.
Yay. So today, Dina, are you ready?
I don't know. What is it?
Today's topic is how we maintain change. So over the last couple of years, obviously, there's been a lot of change, and we've been forced to look at our lives in ways that we never dreamed maybe we would have to. And new habits are difficult to make and difficult to maintain, right? For positive change. And so just thought maybe we could shed a little light on that today. So
I would love to. I think it's so important. And I first want to say about the first number one thing about change is I think some of us who have ADHD or ADD or whatever it may be all over the spectrum of things is habits don't work for someone like me. It has to be systems in place.
What does that mean? Tell us.
Meaning a system in place is I've made these ADHD boards out there that each day of the week, I clean different things in the home. I do different, because here in Italy, we do different trash every single night. So, you know, Mondays is cardboard, Tuesdays is glass, like it goes like that, right? So that's a system in place. I have to follow that system, right? So then if I go over there to the board, it's like on Tuesdays I mop, on Wednesdays or, you know, Mondays I vacuum, whatever it may be. And it's a non-negotiable.
Right.
It's not just like, oh, today I don't feel like it. That is a system in place that I have to keep doing, but it needs to be right there in my face. And then I just forget about it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I've learned works for me, because if I know that I'm still trying to pass the driving test, every morning what I've learned is the habit, and now the system in place is before I do anything, I watch 2 of the driver's tests on YouTube. And then before I can get into anything else, because what I've noticed is if I do something else before that, I will do anything else to not have to do that.
Right. I understand that. I do understand that. So
yeah. So it's really important to put systems in place. Sorry.
Agreed. No, and like over the last couple years, like I said, a lot of us have started working from home. And maybe we have a little extra time on our hands. So, maybe we try to do the right things and get up and go exercise in the morning, but sometimes that's hard. I've been really trying to figure out what a system in place looks like for me for that, and maintaining something like that, because the weather's also been all over the freaking place. Like, last week it was already really hot spring here in Charleston. All the flowers were blooming and already starting to stop. And now it's freezing cold again. So it's like, some days you want to get up and do that. Some days you don't. So I find that my schedule has become all over the place for when I feel like going out.
Do you have something in place of that? If I can't go walk outside, I have the treadmill at home or I do yoga. So I don't just not do it.
You just
I do
reminded
something
me. I forgot
else.
to get the yoga mat when I went home. Yeah.
See?
Yeah, I need to
So
start
you'll
doing
get it.
something like that. Yeah. That would be a really good alternative, actually, because I have tenants downstairs now. So I used to make up my steps. Dina and I hold each other accountable. Y'all, we're each other's accountability partners for stepping, and we try to get 10,000 steps a day, and I have been falling miserably short of that lately. And
I was going to give a gentle reminder today, but I will do it now in front of everyone.
Thank you.
But doing that is like, so what I always say to people is have someone that you show up for and with, because it's not about hitting the steps as much as it is about showing up for yourself consistently. And then when you're really in the present moment, because I think that our habits and our things don't work unless we're in the present moment, because we will find every reason why we can't, with this, with that, blah, blah, blah. Just be here right now, right? And so it is so important to, and I totally fucking forgot what I was saying. What the fuck? Oh my God.
So much.
Bitch, you better edit that. You better cut that shit
out.
In.
You know it's 1,000% staying in. Yeah, so you said the important thing is showing up for yourself, not worrying about being
there you go. Showing
else.
up for yourself, because what happens to our brains is you start showing up, right? And let's say the other person is like at 2,000 steps a day, and then you come at them with 10,000, right? It's not like you're doing it on purpose, right? No, but I'm saying you start to go, ooh, maybe I should be doing more because she's da-da-da. The competitive nature comes up in me.
Oh, yeah,
right?
me too.
And so,
me too. Because
totally.
I was zinging you for a while with 10K, 11K, and you were like, and I was like, look at Miss Thing here.
Right? And so literally it's more just about showing up for yourself. And I think that is so important. So I have a thing that I have habits or things in place, systems in place that I do every morning. I get up, I do that. I do the makeup. I do a lot in bed before I even get out of it. So I'm very productive there. That's where I relax. I decompress. I do my makeup in bed. I do the social media in the morning in bed.
Right.
I do lots of stuff in bed before I get actually out, right?
So it gives you a minute before just launching into your day.
Yes.
I'm not good at that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch my ass out of the bed first thing in the morning.
No, because for me, here's what happens is in my brain, and I'm sure a lot of people can understand this, I have to see it how it's played out in my brain because of my ADHD and the autism and stuff. I have to regulate my immune system to get ready for the day so that in my brain I can kind of know what's going to go on. So a lot of times, like when I painted the kitchen and stuff, I sat with everything for a while because it wasn't working out in my head. It wasn't figuring, I was like, I just don't know. So when I finally did it, it took me an hour and a half to do the whole thing, but I knew exactly what I was going in to do. But I always give myself that time until I see it. So usually if I have a big day the next day, in my head, I try to know exactly what I'm going to do to go up, so it makes it easier for me. So there are a lot of people who are visual and need to see it before it happens, and that works for them. And since you're not a neurodivergent or whatever, maybe it's different, let's say for you, or how does it work for you?
Well, if I have to be up for a certain time and thing, then obviously I do it. You know, because you're right, the system is in place. I cannot get around that. There are time limits we have to show up for. It's the days where I'm on my own schedule and I can do things the way I want to that, exercising sometimes falls short.
Yeah.
because I'm
And
just
you get
like, oh, finally a
sidetracked.
day to like
Yes.
relax and do it my way a little bit.
Totally. Or
So,
let's say meal prepping, or let's
yeah,
say cleaning the house, or let's say, see, the subtle change and the profound impact in all of this is
too
we
soon.
do things subtly. Well, I know I'm saying
Y'all stay. This isn't the
right.
end of the episode.
You're such a dick. No, but I'm saying in the sense is that the how it works for me is, don't give me a bunch of shit to do all at once. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared. My mind doesn't work like that. That is too much. Give me a date and give me an opportunity so that I can sort of work it out. Because for me, especially with my back and my physical ailments and my chronic pain, I don't complain about it and I work around it, but I need time. Right? Yeah. And so for me, mentally, I need to wrap my head around things. So I used to get upset when I would go to New York and a lot of those girls would be like, oh, I can't do this time or I can't do that time for a reading. And I would be like, well, I'm here from Italy and I'm only here. Like,
right.
And I was like, okay, well,
Bitch,
what do you have to do? And they're like, well, and they go, like, I have a spin class. I have a yoga class. And I'm like, what? And they're like, I treat my workouts like a business. And that is non-negotiable.
Right.
And I was like, ooh, mad respect.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because they are putting themselves first.
Yeah. I have friends like that too. They're so good about it.
Hit me the wrong way first because I didn't get it. That was before all of the self-love, self-discovery, like all that. And I was like, well, F you. Like, right? But I think that also has to go in play is that, of course, when you can't get around it, of course, you do something else. But what I'm saying is, if someone wants to go for coffee or they want you to change your schedule to make them happier and you're now not doing something good for you, but you're doing something good for them, well, that's not right either.
Sure.
Right?
And you got to compromise somewhere in there too, of course, but you're right. It's like
totally.
If you can reschedule your workout time, great. If you can't, then you're right. It's like
it's a non-negotiable. Well, you know how we have those friends of like, oh, bitch, don't work out. Come to lunch or like, skip that. And then some of us will do it. And it's like, no, right. It's for me. It's for my health. Right. Yeah. And so I also think too is writing things down is really good so that you see it in paper and have a checklist and you sort of check it off so you can see what you've accomplished and
put it on the calendar.
Totally.
That works well for me. Putting it on the calendar after you make your list. Like put a date to it.
And changes aren't just physical or like with the house or whatever. Let's even talk about when you're talking to friends, right? Or somebody's pissing you off. Or remember, I want you to remember, you don't have to attend every argument, right? And
Amen.
So that is also a distraction because if we start arguing with people, doing whatever, then now we're upset. We may not show up for ourselves, and then that impedes on our whole day. Yeah. Right? And we don't realize that happens.
Right.
And so I think that I had to learn very well about not having to be in every argument or attend every argument because people would say shit that annoys me, right? And you'd be like, fuck you, what? Like, shut it. Like, whatever. Old Dina, like, back in the day, right? And then other Dina, the people pleaser, would be like, oh my God, are you mad? Can I help you? Do you want me to do this? Do you want me to do this? And then now this Dina is like, yeah, no, sorry, I ain't got time for that. Like, physically, it's not worth it to me because physically, my body takes on stuff and my pain gets heavier or whatever it is. So changes in general, they work so well when we have little things we tell ourselves, right? Well, like, it's not about being right. It's about being happy, or you don't have to attend every argument, or things like that.
Well, I think the pandemic gave us a lot of opportunities to participate in arguments and, choose sides on things. And I think what I learned through that and have been practicing is that I care about how I feel more than I care about being right. Like you said, I want to feel good. I want to feel at peace. So, those types of things for sure.
And then what do you do when someone's in your face and they want you in that freaking argument?
Oh, they
because
do.
You've always
I get
been
that.
in that. So what's the change that you have been able to maintain now that you no longer have a desire to be a part of those?
So in your face could be a few things, right? Like when they do it over text, because I've had that, I just don't respond. If it's something that's just baiting me, because Why? I'm not getting into that with you. Go figure that out with somebody else. And if it's somebody that's literally right here, yeah, whatever, I just try to go, can we not talk about this? This is ridiculous. Or,
And then what if they go,
I
well, it's
haven't,
not ridiculous to me.
right.
And
I
then what if
haven't
they
had
come at you?
anybody be aggressive with me like that.
Okay.
Like, I don't think
That's
I have.
good.
Yeah.
You're lucky.
I am, but it's been a lot of weeding through people in my life and working through with the ones that I do have in my life, and that takes a lot of work. But not to say that everybody around me is perfect or that I'm perfect. I screw up all the time, and accidentally say things that get me in trouble. But I think it's just more about, like I said, caring about how you feel and wanting to be kind rather than be right. And sometimes that is murky, because you think by doing something right, you're gonna, it's gonna lead to you feeling better, but sometimes that's gonna piss somebody off. So when it comes to a heated argument, sometimes it's just better to say, okay, wait, let's just stop. This isn't worth it. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And I do that a lot. I'll stop conversations now and go, we just need to move on, or I'll just change the subject.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't even notice. They just launch right into the next one, and it's great.
Well, and also, too, is that I've noticed a lot of us Americans are so easy to quit on someone or something. Going, well, if it's just too much, I don't need to call you anymore. And you're like, whoa. That's not even what I was saying. Right? And because we're so used to, a lot of us, not everyone, is so used to someone coming at us, discarding us, or abandoning us, or whatever. So then we may say, because I'm guilty, I used to be guilty of that all the time, fine, what are you saying? Blah, 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 blah. Right? And now that I don't say that, I think I'm having, in my experience, a lot of visceral reactions because if Dina services you, you feel it. And if Dina's not, you really feel it, right? And so people are pissed. And it's just like, I'm sorry, but it for me, I think the change has affected me most when it comes to my family, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The more I change for the better, the less of them I talk to. Right? And
hopefully just right now, I still have hopes for you that your family will come around.
No, thank you. But what I've been able to do in this situation, because some of them are still around their parents, some aren't, whatever. And I've said, hey, listen, while you're still under this roof, let's put a pause on things. And then that way we could visit it later. But I don't want to do damage to this right now because it's a situational thing. So if someone's in a bad situation, but you can't have all these certain expectations, right? Because they're not even able to show up for themselves because they have to be careful of whatever, right? And so what I'm learning is I'm trying to meet people where they're at and about the change and I try to take it in consideration. And what I do too is there's something I've been wanting to bring up, let's say, to somebody, and it wasn't something I liked. And then I go to myself, are they going to hear me? Is it going to make a difference?
Right.
And am I just going to be wasting my breath?
Right.
And if I still choose to be friends with this person, it's not that, it's par for the course, but kind of with this person.
Yeah.
And so there are some things that you just sort of have to brush off.
Right. I agree.
Right.
And I've definitely had to learn that as well. Some things you just got to roll with because people are who they are and they're not going to change certain things. You're right. And if you make the choice to keep them, it's like,
totally.
Well, it is what it is. But
and it's not a blind eye and it's not ignorance. It means that they have more good than bad, and that you're willing to tolerate that.
Right. Exactly.
It could change over time, but it doesn't mean right now. We don't just go discarding a bunch of people because we're not agreeing with them right now.
No. But I will say I do have a lot of people that I've taken big steps back from, just to see if they will take a step forward. Because I'm tired of doing all the work.
Yes.
And I haven't discarded them, and I'm not
Yeah.
closing the door, but I am taking a huge step back, and you are not going to hear from me until, you know, you step up. And if you don't, after X amount of time, maybe that's my answer, you know? But, I mean...
And it sucks because it's like we don't make an announcement, right? We do it subtly, gradually. We just pull back a little bit. I think the self-reflection with the change is really good because we check in with ourselves and go, okay, since I've been doing A, B, and C, how am I feeling?
Yeah.
Do I feel lighter? Do I
Right.
feel more positive? Do I feel like I have more? Because you will go, listen, not everyone rises to the occasion. And not everyone is capable of rising to the occasion. And a lot of people have no desire to arise to your occasion.
Right. And I have
And
had the
that's the
conversation.
painful part.
Right. Some of them I have had the conversation with of like, hey, I've realized that if I don't reach out to you, I never hear from you. And it seems like when we're together, we have a great time. So, could you maybe like, I feel bad. I feel like I'm always like, at this point, it feels
Checking
like
in
bothering
and-
you because I don't hear back from you. So if that's the case, then, I'm just going to
Yes.
stop. So,
And so I think it's like, I think it's also too, it's very painful to realize when you start getting healthy and you start making changes. It can be really painful to see what you used to, the little crumbs you used to just take, right? And
Yeah.
the little bits that you put up with for so long. And
Right.
then now that you want a little bit more, these people who are supposed to be your good friends, your family, your this, your that, don't want to give you
Right.
any more.
right.
That hurts. And
Yeah.
it's disappointing and it's hurtful.
Well, and they're used to a dynamic. So now, if we change that dynamic, let's see what happens.
Well, and the thing is with those dynamics, sure, they do change, but it's sometimes we all have to be careful, and we always have to be kind to ourselves. Remember, 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, 100 steps forward, 1 step back. Meaning, make sure that you don't fall into old habits of being like, no, it's okay, I'm not saying that. And then you appease them to calm them down and then to show up. Like when I used to give out my cards, I used to get so excited, right? And you never hear from anyone. And it's just literally like, and then I was like, well, what's the point of giving those cards out? And I was like, I do it because I like it. Not for anybody else, right? And so I keep giving them out because fine, whatever. Sometimes when I meet people, like whatever it is, but that's the change in me. I've adjusted my expectation, my outcome. I've changed the way I think about, I approach people, right? Before it was like, look at me, like me, look, la, la, la. And now it's just like I'm getting something from the interaction.
Right.
Right? And I'm approaching it in a different way. My mindset is different. And
Yeah.
so I think that becomes a part of the change, though, right? So as we're changing and we consistently keep these changes, then we keep graduating to different levels, and then we keep seeing, oh, wait, I want more from this person. Oh, wait, maybe I want to add that. Or, oh, wait, maybe now. And people are like, well, I just did this or I just did that. And you're like, dude, I'm allowed to grow and want more.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so I think don't set your expectation low. Don't dim your light. I'm saying is, sure, you can have expectation for yourself, but is it expectation, because I'm asking you, Ashley, is it expectation or is it bad to want somebody to mirror how kindly you treat them?
Absolutely not. As long as it's someone who you are giving it to who deserves it in the right way, right? I would say if you're placing that on somebody that isn't capable of doing the work or has no intentions of doing the work, yes, it's bad to expect it back because you ain't going to get it. You're just going to be disappointed, right? But yeah, no, these are some of these folks I'm like, this is curious. And yes,
Yeah.
they should be stepping up. Our friendships are that long. We have that much history. I think it's that deep. So yeah, I think it is. And I think that I would rather be a little lonely in that doing the work and feeling like I'm not sacrificing a part of myself anymore, and I'm not allowing someone to take advantage of me in that way anymore. And I'd rather just let it go and wait and see with this new energy and expectations what comes in differently. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and
But it's
heard
hard
Kelly
sometimes.
Clarkson. Totally.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's fucking hard.
It's hard a lot.
I heard
I mean,
Kelly. Yeah, I heard Kelly Clarkson on an interview yesterday, and she was saying that if you don't show up or you're not that friend, you don't have you don't have the luxury of being a part of my story. And I was a little confused
Nice.
at first. I was like, she wasn't talking about your past story. She's talking about the story now,
Yeah.
the story I'm creating, the
Right.
story and I'm like, oh, that's really good.
That's a great way to
And
think of it. But you say
yeah,
this a similar thing. You always say they don't deserve access to me, and I have
totally.
kept that in my brain too. And I'm like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? They don't. Like, if they're
Mm-hmm.
not rising to the occasion and showing up in that way, and I'm not talking about people who are just busy and
No, of
we do come
course.
back
Yes.
together when we can and whatever. I'm just talking about the people that they know better. They know who they are and they know better. They
Totally, and
do.
they may not be ready to change, but you're gonna have to be the one to change. So when
Yeah.
we talk about doing the work, this is what that means. Meaning, if
Right.
you have friends that aren't showing up for you and you have gooey, sticky, emotional situations, doing the work means feeling it, acknowledging it, and doing something about it. Meaning, adjust your behavior, have a conversation, do something. It's not just podcasts, reading books, feeling your emotions. This is a part
Yeah,
of
yeah.
doing the work. Is
Changing
it's
your life.
painful to let people go. It's painful to lose hope in friendships that you cared so much about and they don't.
Right.
It's not as important to them.
That's right. And we're not talking about either, I'm not talking about my expectations of these other people changing in the way that I've changed. You know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes there's a misconception of like, well, now Ashley doesn't drink anymore. So if I hang out with her, I'm not going to be able to drink. Or I don't know. I don't know what it is because I
Yeah.
just feel that from people. I know the people that I've lost on a certain level, and I know that that was a huge part of our hanging out. So, it's like, well, no, you don't have to behave the same way I'm behaving. I'm just asking you to respect where I am now. Maintain a
Like,
friendship
don't push
and be
alcohol on
respectful.
me.
Yeah, just don't
Totally.
just be respectful. That's
You
it.
know, sometimes when you're out with people who drink, two things can happen. One is they feel uncomfortable about themselves drinking and they feel, and it's not true, but they feel the person that's not drinking is judging them or they feel
Yeah.
uncomfortable and you're like, dude, that's your narrative.
Right.
That's not my
Right.
narrative.
Right.
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 Or there's the people who continually go, come on, just drink a little, just have one drink. What's the big deal? Blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. What part of the no do you not understand? And what part of me are you not respecting me? I get that the old Dina used to, okay, fine. You know, when you're on a diet, you go to
Right.
someone's house, just eat a taco. Okay, fine, have a drink.
Right.
I don't do that anymore.
Right.
Like I've changed. Like,
Yep.
please support that.
Right. Same.
You know?
And I'm only going to judge you if you've been drinking and then you get in the car,
Totally.
which is also a double standard because I used to do that years ago.
Me too.
So it's
but
like,
now we know better.
I understand. I knew better. Now I'm doing better. Exactly. And, luckily, like, my family are all big drinkers, but they know not to drive. God bless them. They leave their keys, they leave their cars at, my mom's house if we're all around and drinking or whatever, and I'll drive one home, mom will drive one home, whoever. And then, they get their cars the next morning and it's all fine. And God bless, because that's the last thing I want to do is have the kids in the family singing that. You know what I
Totally.
mean? So,
Yes.
no, I don't judge you.
And-
Like, have fun, but just don't, hurt other people
Totally.
in the process.
And if I can't get on a level with you when you're hammer time, then
Right.
don't be mad at me just
Right.
because I'm not on that level, right? But I would hope that we wouldn't feel judged. And I'll tell you something interesting that's been happening to me is that I don't know what kind of friend I am, and I'm learning that right now because I became the friend that I was from all the years of people pleasing,
Right.
right? And all of the years of being around narcissist or being around certain things. And so Dina now, I'm really starting to sit with things, seeing what makes me feel good, if I want to do things, if I don't want to do things, because all of that kind of stuff was me doing it because other people wanted me to, or I was trying to impress other people, or I was trying to make someone like me, or whatever it is. So it's more clear, especially not drinking. But when you start doing things that are better for you, the desire to fall off of that becomes less and less because you know how hard it was for you to get on this train.
That's right.
Right? And so
Amen.
now that you're on this train, you're like, well, I don't want to fucking get
Start
hungover,
over.
take a week off of my
Yeah.
life, and then blah, 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 right? And so for me, health I've really been changing my relationship with food, and it's not that, believe me, I want to do all these fun things people are talking about, but unfortunately, I've gone through such a physical healing journey that the pain that certain foods cause me, or the migraines that drinking or
Right.
whatever causes
Yep.
me, it's not worth it to me anymore.
Yep. Yep.
So when someone's trying to push something on me, it's like, dude, you know me. You know
Right.
my story. You know how far I've been. Stop.
Right.
It's
Right.
not okay. Like, support me in this.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's like when I go out to dinner, especially with a group of people, and God forbid it's at a steakhouse or something. It's like, I'm the asshole who doesn't eat meat, is gluten free,
Doesn't
not
drink.
by
Yes.
choice, not by
I
choice with
know.
the gluten free. It's like I have to for the little nodules on the
Uh-huh.
thyroid, and then and now I don't drink too. I mean, why? I am a bag of fun, let me tell you.
Try living in
In
Italy
their
with all of
eyes.
those. Totally. Try living
South
in Italy with
Carolina?
that.
Hello? South fucking Carolina, where everything is fried or meat. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's the
Italy,
same.
it's meat, cheese, pasta,
Yeah.
and wine,
Yeah.
right? And I
Yeah.
can't have
Yeah.
any of it.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so it's like, do you think I choose this? Meaning, like, I choose to be that rigid and anal and whatever. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
it's just, even now, my body does not do well with oats as much. So I have to pick certain days of the
Oh,
week that
shit.
it's okay. But that, listen,
not
and
good.
I understand, but
Mm-hmm.
it's literally, I'm learning and I'm just listening to my
Yep.
body, but I feel great, meaning
Good.
as good as I can for my stuff. So I'm going to keep doing it.
Yep. Yep.
When
Absolutely.
before I wasn't able to make the change because, it wasn't that bad. I would get hungover and then you'd be fine the next day. But now when you're older, you're like, when you get hammered and you're like, you hurt for like a week.
Do you? I wouldn't know. I'm not older
well,
yet.
you did. I know. No, you're just old.
Truth.
Truth. No, so I just think all of the, and it's interesting. It's challenging to be around a bunch of people. So let's talk about people who live with their families, especially in different cultures and countries and whatever. And let's say India, right? And people live with their families, and you have to, there's cultural sort of things that you have to follow. And maybe there are certain things that are passionate inside you that you don't. It is very hard to be around a household of people who they don't change because this is the way things have always been. This is the way things are. And so I'm not saying be disrespectful to your family, whatever, but I would say sort of subtly do it and let them witness the change and go, wait, what are you doing? Like, why are you so much happier? You look really good. Or I noticed that you're like moving so much more, whatever. And so, because what will happen is sometimes a lot of people, they get afraid, no, you can't do that, or we don't do that, or how are you going to get that done? You have to work, and then they poo-poo on something before you even start it.
Right. Well, I don't even have a lot of those conversations if I know that it's going to be poo-pooed. I just keep it to myself and do it and let them see later.
But see, we never used to be like that. We had to learn to not tell people.
We did.
There's a lot of people listening who sometimes I'll call my dad and I'll be like, and I'm crying. And then I go, bitch, why are you calling him? Like, he is not the one that gives you the support you need.
Right.
And so then I go to hang up the phone.
My mom. Yeah, same.
For sure. But there was that inner child in me hoping that this time my dad would show up for me.
Right.
Right? And is it unfair that I keep pushing something on a man who doesn't have a certain capability or just he can't show up that way? It's just not who he is. It's not in his DNA. A lot of people are dealt with that. And so I'm not saying keep forcing yourself on someone. Try to find connections in different ways.
Well, this morning I was listening to We Can Do Hard Things podcast because we both love that podcast very much.
Obsessed.
And they were interviewing Abby Wambach, and she said something really interesting. She said that she was like us. She always sought this love from, in her case, her mother, and never got it in the way that she felt like she needed it or wanted it or expected it. It wasn't handed to her in the package that she was expecting. And she goes, it wasn't until I was a lot older that, all these years I thought my mother didn't love me. And it took me a long time to recognize that, it was love. It was just not in the package that I expected it to come in. She did other things, and in her mind, that was the way she loved me. She took me to all my soccer.
I was so resistant and such a little stubborn jerk that it wasn't until I was 50 that I finally stopped the cheese. And boy, did I see a difference. But 30 years, I was trying to prove her wrong because I was pissed that she used to put that on me. And I couldn't hear the message.
Yeah. You know what my grandmother's message about cheese was?
What?
She'd say, Ashley, cheese is binding. And I was like, oh, ow.
Ew.
And that made me stop for a while.
Yeah,
so
but then
she'd always say that anytime I've tried to put cheese on anything. You don't want to eat that. Cheese is binding. My sweet
That is
grandma.
amazing.
Anyway.
No, that's amazing.
Southernisms. Hashtag Southernisms.
Right? And so there are things, sure, that I got a lot of information when I was younger or whatever. I just wasn't ready to change. I wasn't ready to give up a bunch of stuff. So I'm not saying go be vegan, go do it. I'm saying just start maybe listening to yourself while you're talking to certain friends and seeing if that friendship still feels good right now.
Right.
Just start being aware of things.
Yes.
Because once we become aware, we become responsible.
Yep.
So
what would you say our subtle change, profound impact is for this week, Coach Dina?
I would say intuitively, everyone's subtle change and profound impact would be go in, right? You have to go in order to get out, but go in with some questions for yourself. So, you know how like you and I or certain people, let's just say, I've been on a gazillion diets my whole life. What makes this time different? Right? And so ask yourself, like start saying to yourself, because unless we have a conversation with ourselves without the narrative, right? And you're being kind and honest to yourself and whatever. In all honesty, I could honestly say to you, Ashley, is I was tired of being fat. I was tired of being in so much chronic pain all the time. I was tired of being tired. And for me, I've said it many times before, I grew up in a place where your beauty was most important. So I always used to release weight for a vanity standpoint, and now it's different. I'm doing it because it's more about health and who I want to be, right? And I've noticed that is different about me. Also, I noticed that I now have tools and words I can use to protect or defend myself. Instead of eating, I've started learning to talking, right? And all of these things, they don't happen overnight, but the subtle change and the profound impact is start going in with questions. And I say go in. Like literally ask a question. If you don't hear anything right away, something will come up in a dream in the morning, or a situation will arise, and then it will be like someone will show you who they are energetically, because right now we're literally amplified by like 8. So whatever you're thinking, saying, doing, it's being amplified. So be very clear with your intentions and pure of what you're thinking, talking about, right? So yes, there's plenty of memes and inspirational quotes or whatever, but you really do have to start by going in and asking yourself, why this time? Like, what's different now? Like, what's going to change now? And honestly, I don't even think of food anymore of like being on a diet. I eat when I'm hungry. I allow myself to graze, but I don't have all the other stuff that I used to eat, right? So everything I'm eating is healthier. So my mentality is shifted.
That's good.
I'm not eating a bunch of bad stuff that going, oh my God, I can't eat. In my head, I used to be like, okay, well, if I eat this today, then tomorrow I won't eat all day, and then I'll exercise twice. And then I justify it. And then the next day you wouldn't do that.
Wow,
and then it would just be this horrible cycle. Right? Now I don't do that to myself because I'm like, well, that's not fair to tomorrow's you. That's a lot of pressure. You know what I mean? And so now, and then if you walk away for 10 minutes, usually the cravings, the things, whatever, it's even like about a night of drinking. There are so many times I've left situations now that I don't drink going, oh my God, I'm so happy I didn't drink tonight.
Well, and it's funny, the more of those situations I'm in and I don't drink, the more you start to build like your own support system, your inner support system, the
Mm-hmm.
more you do it, because you're right. You do start to realize and go, it's not worth it. But it'll take a little while. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's tough in the beginning. For the first 2 months, it was really hard for me. But
Mm-hmm.
now, I'm what, a year and I don't know, a few months in, and
Yeah,
three
you're
months
in
in,
2 months or 2.5 months in.
3 months,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I just, yeah, I'm around those situations and I go, yeah, no, I have fun. Like I've gotten to the point now where I'm able to have fun in
Mm-hmm.
those situations. And that was my biggest fear. I thought, well, I won't be as social. I won't, laugh in the same way. I won't be able to relax in the same way. And in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, that was true. But, over the course of the last year, now it's like, no, I feel like I'm back to the same person I would have been, maybe not quite as obnoxious, when I'm not
Yeah,
drinking, but I'm having the
totally.
same level of fun, but I'm able to recall things. I'm able to answer questions in the conversation, whereas
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the people around me are going, oh, wait, what? Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And I
interesting.
like who I am. I like who shows up. I like that I show up consistently. And it's
Yes.
not drunk Dina, it's not agitated Dina, it's not hammered Dina. It's like cuz I would do very inappropriate things when I was drunk. And so now
Who,
I don't have to
you?
worry about yeah.
Shocker.
I would show my boobies
I
to
did
the
too. Yeah.
world.
Well, I
See?
didn't do that, but I did enough inappropriate things. I showed them to some people, but
Well,
uh,
yes, but I'm just saying is
you know,
now I don't have to be afraid of who I emailed, who I texted, what I may have said, you know what I mean? And so like the phone text would be the first thing of like, oh shit, what did I do? Right? And so now
that's
it's
funny.
interesting to me is I don't even think about this stuff anymore. I think what
Mm-mm.
happens is if it's not a choice,
Uh huh.
because it's not a choice. Like the physical stuff I can't do the drinking, all of it is not a choice because it all causes inflammation,
Right.
right? And
Right.
so
It
it's
gets
not a
harder.
choice, so then it's not on my radar. Like when I pass by bakeries and stuff, I'm not like, oh my god, I want that so bad. I'm like, oh, that looks nice, but I can't have
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I don't
Yep.
feel bad, or I enjoyed, believe me, a lifetime of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so it's not like I'm missing out. Now I get to discover new things with new habits and new desires. And you meet a completely different crowd of people when you're doing this lifestyle as
It's
opposed to a
true.
different lifestyle, right? So
Yeah, it's true.
it's it's just very, very cool. I love it because you know what it is? I just thought of this. I feel like for the first time in my life, I'm not hiding anything from everyone, and that the sort of insides are meeting the outsides.
Yep.
Like
Well,
I'm
you
not
also
like, sorry.
no, I was going to say you also said something a long time ago to me when I was, in one of our sessions. You said,
Mm-hmm.
Ashley, you need to learn how to be the same person in
Mm-hmm.
every room you enter. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
ooh, because, as someone who was proud to be a chameleon and felt like I could fit into any situation, um, that hit me. And I was like, ooh, yeah. And so doing
Mm-hmm.
this work has given me the courage, I would say, to do that. I don't feel like
Mm-hmm.
now when I'm entering a room with family, I'm different than the room I'm entering when I'm with
Mm-hmm.
friends or whatever. I'm kind of
Mm-hmm.
showing up more consistently.
Yes.
So that's nice. I like
Yeah,
that too.
it's
It's
really
less
nice.
work, it's less exhausting. It
Totally.
really
I used
is
to
less
show up as different
exhausting.
people to work, in a relationship, and in friendships, and then I could
Hmm.
never integrate them all
Exactly. That, me
because it
too.
was just yeah. And so like I said it to, I did it before I probably told you to do it, right? Like years
Thank
ago.
you.
But well, and now you're welcome. And now it's just really cool because I'm the same to a 5 year old that I am to a 95-year old, right?
Yeah.
Treat
Yeah.
you with the same respect, the same kindness, you're going to get the same Dina.
Right. Right.
And I like that about myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Totally.
like I'm enough just showing up as me.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And
Hmm.
then you find the people who gravitate to you because of that, and that just feels nice. You're not performing
Oh,
for people anymore. You're not.
and it's hard, like in those lulls, like I find myself sometimes in quiet moments or whatever. I find myself going, okay, you don't have to fill every space. Like you don't have to. And I literally I'm learning who this new Dina is, because impulsively before I'd be like, okay, they want me to entertain them, or oh, I need to blah blah blah, and then I'm like, no, you're good, like we're okay, and that's new for me, and I'm
Yeah.
being gentle with myself, but
Yeah.
I'm figuring out who I am and not who I've always been.
That's good. Yeah. That's very
Mm-hmm.
good. And I think I realized in a few different birthday parties years ago where all of my different friends or family would come together in one room, and I'd be like, "Oh God, none of these people can get a," you know what I mean? It was like
Mm-hmm.
such different walks of life, and my friends would call me out on it. They'd be like, I don't want to, why would you bring us all together at the same time? Why don't you do something with this group and something with this group? And I'd be like, well, shit. And that sort of woke me up to, it's like, oh, wow, I really am different here and here and
Mm-hmm.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well,
Well,
whoopsie
and
doodle. But
right, and well, and I just think it's just so cool that you're learning it and you're doing it. I just think it's super cool,
well,
right?
thank
And I
you.
think it's you're welcome. I think it's super cool that we're all trying, and I love that you and I, because I know, guys, when we first started this podcast, it was supposed to be all about me and my intuitive gifts and everything, but I just kept getting this verbiage about no, you and Ashley just have to talk.
Aw,
Just start having conversations.
and I was
And I
terrified.
just, I know, but you've really warmed up into it, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
I think watching you shine and lifting you up is just as good for me as it is, like for you. But I'm just saying we're both really coming out of our shells doing this, and we're both growing in the interim, and it took me a long time to have the courage to let people see me.
Same,
You know what I mean? And
same.
so kudos to you and kudos to me,
Thank
because
you.
I think it's important that other people can see that, you know, chronic pain, childhood trauma,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, it doesn't all look the same.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at me, you wouldn't know that I have 4 autoimmunes, and I have chronic pain, and I have a cage in my back, and a machine, because a lot of people will say to me, well, you just don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not sitting and complaining about, because that's a very big change I had to make. In
Mm-hmm.
my family, the sicker or the more dramatic you were, the more attention you got. I didn't like
Oh,
that.
shit.
And so everything was about, oh, I don't feel good. Oh, I can't, because
Mm-hmm.
I could do that every day. But a lot of times when I'm not doing things, or whatever, I don't justify to people anymore that I'm not doing it because of pain,
Mm-hmm.
because then that becomes my narrative.
Right. Because they
And
want to
then
talk
if
about
you,
it, and then you have to
yes,
talk about it, and then down that rabbit hole you go.
totally.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I
so
get it.
if you're my friend and you know me and you know me well enough to know, that if I want to talk about it, I will.
Yeah.
And because I don't talk about my pain very often.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
just, I try to ignore it, right? And that's a very big change I had to make. I
Mm-hmm.
was becoming my pain.
Yes, you were.
And so
And
I've
I've seen
had
a
to
difference
learn.
even. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, since I've
I've
known you.
had, yes, and I've had to learn to not become my pain.
Yeah. I'm sure
And
it's not
so,
easy, but good for you,
totally. And
Yeah.
thank you. But same with people with family stuff, with
Yep.
whatever. Stop repeating it. That's the
Mm-hmm.
number one change you could probably make with the subtle change on the pound. And back, guys, change your narrative. Stop
Mm-hmm.
repeating. My family won't let me, or you don't understand, or this one will never. Okay, but you're talking about giving power to outside sources. I'm talking about you in your own head. No one can tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you
Exactly.
start changing the way you think, what will happen is it will start getting momentum, and you'll start getting bored and agitated of where you are, and you'll want to shift.
That's right. That's right. And
You
it happened
know?
for you. And it happened
Hmm.
for me. Yeah. I mean, eventually you
Totally.
just sort of hit your limit and you're like, ugh, I'm done.
Uh,
I want
right?
something better for myself, right?
But I don't want mine to take 13 years next time. Right?
Well,
And you
no.
don't want yours. No, and I know. But what I'm saying for me is that now what I'm learning is, with that narrative, I
Mm-hmm.
allowed that for
Right.
13 years.
Right.
I became that story. You don't understand. He's such an asshole. Why wouldn't he? Blah, 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 blah.
Uh-huh.
And then you get into the whole narcissism thing. And then you get into all this thing. And then you become this. You become. Okay, great. I've educated myself on so many things. Let me see how I'm going to show up for myself, how this is going to play out, and then I'm going to make a decision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I don't want to be pushed. Better late than never. So instead of being like I see a lot of people very upset that they've only been recently assessed or self-diagnosed with autism and whatever. I'm thinking to myself, I went through that for maybe like 4 or 5 days, but now for me, it explains so much that I'm actually relieved and I'm happy. I would have been so bummed if I would have gone my whole life and not known. So instead of getting on the thing of being pissed, oh, everyone in my life, and okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Put a cap on it.
Yeah.
Put a cap on that shit and let that shit go.
Yep.
Because that is not serving you.
Agreed.
No one, if all those people didn't show up for you then and you couldn't get the help that you needed, you want those same people now to feel bad?
Right.
I'm sorry. It's just
not going to happen.
No, and it's painful and it sucks. But
Let it go.
If you get around a bunch of people, like-minded people, join a group, join a support group, join a whatever it is, right? That's so important. I've said to people, friends who have had, cancer, unfortunately, whatever, and they're like, you just don't understand. And I'm like, you're exactly right. I don't. That's why you need a support group. That's why it's not that I don't want to be a good friend to you.
Right.
I just don't have that experience. I have experience with chronic pain. I don't have experience with someone saying that my life may end soon or be cut short.
Yeah. Right.
So as smart and as good and as nice as I am, but a lot of people don't want to do the work of going to a group or talking to strangers and I get that. It takes time, but
encourage.
Online now. Yeah, but online is so easy. You get in all these groups and you don't even have to show your face.
That's right.
You can turn your camera off and just be a spectator.
It's true. There's a lot of good free information and free help and free groups that you can join. That's just,
So many.
Or meetups. If you want to do in person, the meetups are amazing. They really are.
Well, and Meetup, I do Italian on Thursday nights on Meetup, and people are all over the country at 8 o'clock every Thursday night, and it's free. And you're talking to a bunch of random people all over the world, and it's like you feel social, you accomplish something, you got yourself out there. And
you're with like-minded people.
Yeah, and you're doing the best you can.
Exactly.
Make an effort.
Yes.
Because we are also quick to judge of like this one.
Why'd you point
if
at
I
me?
didn't have to work, I'm just saying in general. No, not you. I'm just saying in general. Well, I remember this was my narrative. If I saw a blonde girl at Whole Foods in Brentwood and she had like a diamond ring on her finger and she was super cute driving a Range Rover, my mind would go, oh, lucky bitch, got a rich husband, doesn't have a care in the world, blah, blah, blah. One time I met one of those girls and she was a personal assistant. That was her boss's car and it was a fake ring to keep men from right? So the narrative that we put in our head isn't true 90% of the time.
Right. Exactly.
So it does have to start with you. The change has to start with your narrative.
Amen. Try to be consistent. Yes.
Totally.
Yes.
So, yay, we got a lot of stuff to work with. I'm so excited.
We got a lot of stuff in today. That was excellent.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys, so I think this week we are going to start separating the cafe segment. So now just go on to our YouTube page and you can find it there under the LITNN Cafe playlist because, I mean, look, we're already an hour something into this, so we're not gonna be putting them at the end of these anymore.
Oh, okay.
So just go there. We will have a weekly recipe released every time there's a new podcast release. So every Tuesday, basically, for right now. And that's fun.
And those are really great, subtle starts to changing your eating life, your journey, whatever it is. These are very healthy, very easy. So no one can sit there and go, oh, it's too hard. Oh, no, it's not. If Ashley can do it, you can do it.
Bitch. Yeah. And I was going to say, and you can laugh at us for 6 minutes or laugh at me for 6 minutes. That's fine. But they're all short and they're fun and easy. And the other thing that we've never said on here that I don't know why we haven't, and I apologize, Dina, but is where can people find you if they want to just do a one-on-one session with you, because you guys see how beautiful the information is that she shares here, but you can book Dina one-on-one for a private session. So where can people find you?
They could find me on my website at Dina, DenaPaduano.com.
Yay!
DinaPadawano.com. Thank
And
you
if
for
you
that.
can't
That's really
remember
nice,
that,
Ashley.
email us here and I'll get you to her.
And I'm on social media, Dina
She's on
Padawano
social media.
on Instagram.
She's everywhere,
Or Facebook.
y'all. You can
Yes,
find her.
that's me.
She ain't that hard to find.
That's right.
Yeah.
I ain't running from no one.
But I've been working with Dina for, what's today? 7 years? Oh,
Wow.
7 years. Shit. That's
And you
too
still
long.
like me. That's amazing.
Just kidding. I do, and obviously I've gotten so much out of it, and I love you and I appreciate you. So
Thank you.
you know,
And
anybody
I do with
else?
you.
Yeah, I'm a walking testimony for your support. So
Thank you.
yeah. Anyway,
Yay.
all right. Well, y'all have a fantastic week, and we will see you next time.
See you next time. Yay.
Bye.
Join us here each week as we unpack life in the new normal with a new hashtag Subtle Change Profound Impact from Coach Dina. To get a little daily inspirational message in your social feed, follow us on YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Copyright 2020 Angel Baby Films, all rights reserved.